Doing well.
Fantastic.
Daytona! Let's go, we! Let's go, we! Daytona!
Let's go, guys. We're back, boys. We're back.
Yes, we
That
are.
is-
I had to do Daytona USA for that one. Had to.
That is correct. We are full-fledged on a full head course towards the 2026 NASCAR season, and I could not be more excited. As always, a huge shout out to Will and the Alkali Project over there. They're doing some amazing work. Please check out their music wherever you get your music streamed. But we are going to jump right in with a little bit of off-track news that came in late last week and over the weekend. As we all know, we talked about it last week. The playoffs are no more. The chase is back. And one huge change that has happened since the chase was announced that it was coming back is the Charlotte Roval is no more. In the fall of 2026, Charlotte Motor Speedway chase race will be on the oval. We don't know if it's 400 or 500 miles quite yet. That is to be determined. But starting with Jamie, how do you feel about Charlotte going back to its roots for the fall race?
Kind of had some conversations about it with Eli and some others.
I feel like we talked about
When it
this
comes to-
entirely last episode.
Yeah.
Because I had my Roval hat on for that episode.
Did we talk about it?
We did.
Oh,
Yeah,
Because
I had
Ryan was
my
upset
Roval
that the
hat
Roval
on.
went away.
Oh, well, my apologies, boys. I am so sorry. You can ask Jamie and my wife.
We
and
completely understand, Greg. You had a family emergency.
It's been crazy around my house for the last couple of weeks. So yeah. Okay. Moving on. So I do have a few more off track topics to talk about. Adam Stern posted this morning that NASCAR is exploring quote a couple of potential new venues for 2027 and beyond per Ben Kennedy, and it is also planning some sort of major renovation for the Talladega Super Speedway. I read the article. It did not say what venues they were exploring, and it also did not say what renovations they were planning for Talladega. So on the show tonight, we can only speculate. Starting with Jamie, what venues would you like to see NASCAR go to in 2027?
Oh man. I had a much better answer about the Talladega renovation with the simple fact that I'm scared. Because I don't like it when they try to change things, especially at super speedways. And maybe it's just like a repave. If it's just a repave, then cool. But
when they
if
say
they're talking about
like that, I think of like the Phoenix renovation when they renovated the infield and garage area of Phoenix. That's what I think of when I've been hearing them say like renovating Talladega.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm sorry to cut you off, Jamie, but Talladega just did a renovation of their infield like 3 or 4 years ago, and I've been down there. It's absolutely gorgeous and amazing.
That was in like 2019, so closer to 7 years ago.
Okay, well, 7 years ago, but still, it's beautiful down there already.
Yeah.
And now the grandstand concourse could use a little work, and my wife can vouch for that.
Yeah, but when we're talking about the grand schemes of like, what's the age of like renovations? 7 years is still relatively young for a renovation. So, like I said, when they say renovation, I'm scared to kind of see what that's going to look like. Hopefully, they're not revamping the infield to make an infield road course kind of thing. I hope not. No, that's not the way to go. But, tracks that some new locations. I know we talked about road courses, like hopefully like we get less and less road courses, but do any of you guys remember Sears Point?
Yeah.
You mean Sonoma Raceway?
Yeah, Sonoma.
Oh, it's Sonoma now. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, it's just been renamed.
Yeah, it was Sears Point, then Infineon, then Sonoma.
Oh, never mind. There goes that idea. You can pass on me on that because I got put on the spot and I'm drawing a blank.
No, you're good. You're good. What about you, Cobra?
There is only one track I think of that NASCAR has never been to. That would probably be interesting, but has always been a favorite of mine whenever I pop on Gran Turismo or Forza. And that is simply Laguna Seca. Why hasn't NASCAR ever tried Laguna Seca? Is it because of ground clearance? Because of the corkscrew or what? I don't
give you a
know.
pretty easy answer on that one.
God.
I would be very scared to see the Cup cars do the corkscrew section with how big and heavy the Cup cars are, going with the significant elevation change of this corkscrew section of that racetrack.
That's true. Fair enough. So if they can't, as Laguna Seca would be a fun idea to do so, there is another interesting idea that Slap Shoes had brought forth a few years ago when he was doing like his own NASCAR schedule. If he was the commissioner of NASCAR, why not do an airport race? Like an abandoned airport, turn it into like a road course. Bring in grandstands.
Work together with IndyCar to bring back Cleveland.
That's what he was talking about. He's talking about Cleveland.
Can I add something real quick?
Go ahead.
So one, we've mentioned Laguna Seca on this show before as a possible venue for NASCAR to go to, but we did say, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, it would be in a major competition with IndyCar, unless they did like a double header weekend.
Yep.
But
because the IndyCar, I believe, has their championship finale or one of their last races of the season there. It's not the championship finale anymore.
Right. And the airport idea, I think, is good, but we are already kind of trending in that direction with the street race in San Diego is going to be on a naval/Air Force base.
With runways.
Go ahead, Jamie.
I did have a question. When they say new venues, did they say like brand specific, like series specific?
No, it was just kind of like a universal topic. Like there was no specific series or cities or anything mentioned in the article. It was just that they are exploring possibilities for 2027 and beyond.
Okay. Because, I mean, the only thing that really came to mind is I know trucks went to the Rock. So I think it would be cool to see the Cup cars come back to Rockingham as kind of like a vintage.
Yeah, trucks and O'Reilly Auto Parts have been raced the Rock last year on Easter weekend.
Yeah. So I think that would be cool for 2027. Do like a full race weekend at the Rock. That would probably be my choice.
That would be really cool.
I could see that as maybe a replacement to Spring Darlington if they are looking to cut a Darlington date. I love Spring Darlington, but that would be a geographically similar race in a time slot that you could probably fit Rockingham into as a point state. Otherwise, I think Rockingham could also work as an all-star location.
Yep. Ryan, what about you, bud? Unless you just kind of gave yours.
Well, for me, when I read that, my initial thought was immediately thinking, okay, so they're speaking potentially with specifically street courses, because I road and street circuits, because I was like, I can't really think of an oval that NASCAR wouldn't have already been in conversations with. Like,
I do have a question
about all the ovals around the country that could realistically host a NASCAR race.
Go ahead, Cobra.
You had a question?
Yes. NASCAR has done the Road America circuit, haven't they?
Yes. The
Okay.
Yeah, it was
I
4th
know-
of July
I
a
know-
couple years ago.
Yeah, they've done Road America. They've also done COTA, Circuit of the Americas.
That's the third race
Yeah,
of
they
the
do
year
that
this year.
currently.
Okay. All right. So all right. So we've already brushed down some tracks. Okay. Just double checking. I'm again haven't watched NASCAR since 2015. And again,
Yeah.
that was when my
I
pump
was saying,
Benny
Road
was still
America
alive.
would be a
so,
great race to return to, though.
yeah,
I'd be all for a return to Road America.
yeah. Apparently that was a hit during COVID. That was a hit
Yes.
during the dark times.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was probably,
But, yeah.
unfortunately, as much as I dislike the road courses, I think Road America was probably the best one on the Cup Series schedule besides Watkins Glen.
It's awesome to
Yeah,
to drive on when you're playing on Forza or Gran Turismo. It's awesome.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's wide enough on track, and the straightaways are long enough that it really works well for NASCAR. Because the problem with one of my biggest problems with Circuit of the Americas is is just the amount of hairpin tight corners that are amazing in an Indy car or an F1 car with high acceleration, but big bulky stock cars, not so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you in
That's
certain
the main reason
aspects.
why Watkins Glen works so well is that there's a lot of big right angles, or a lot of big right and left 90-degree turns, to the point where you don't have, you have enough length on the straightaways to accelerate, which Road America has plenty of length to accelerate on all their straightaways. The only problem there would have been maybe and this is like I always found a little odd, was just how short the lap count was for specifically the O'Reilly Auto Parts and Truck Series, because of just how long the track is. The lap count was always like 30 laps, and especially to try and split that up with stages. That felt a little awkward, but
no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, Road America, though, absolutely, I think would be a great road course to have in the rotation. If not completely replace COTA, because I think it's just better.
Yeah.
But again, I'm trying to think of other ovals that they haven't kind of returned to, and it's like, I'm really struggling to think of too many oval tracks that they haven't returned to outside of obviously the Rock.
Yeah. Now, before we get to JP, I will say, in my personal opinion, if these two particular tracks did not shut down, I would have liked to have seen the clash at either Myrtle Beach or Irwindale.
Yeah, I would like to. Irwindale would have given them their California presence too.
What was that, Cobra?
Is Hickory still around?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
I say yes, it is.
That would
I
be
know because I see notifications all the time from Pete Antifreeze about their drivers at Hickory.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
We got
okay, that was my bad. I had to step out for a moment there. I apologize.
No, you're good, buddy. We're still on the same topic. Another track that maybe would be really, really cool for clash purposes, because obviously it's a reduced field, is New Smyrna, because it's right there in the Daytona area. You know, you go down there, you do the clash a week or two before Daytona, and then the teams can either stay down there or go back to North Carolina and hang out. And, you know, I've seen a lot of good late model and open wheel modified races be put on at New Smyrna. Like, there was just a fantastic one the other night.
Yeah, I've heard that one, and I've also, I believe I was one of the ones last week while we were in between podcast episodes talking about how if they needed to move it on the fly to a Florida short track to try and make something work for Daytona, that I actually quite like the idea of Five Flag Speedway, home of the Snowball Derby, as a venue that could seat enough fans for, again, and hold enough cars for the clash. Again, probably wouldn't work for for regular racing purposes, but for for a Clash or an All-Star event, I think that would do great.
I agree. Let's go to Eli. He's going to have to probably step out here in a minute. So let's get his thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate the opportunity, guys. There. Sorry, I'm trying to get everything ready for Daytona and get ready to leave in -4 hours. So, um, just covering everything that I've heard on this topic. As far as a new venue, I think New Smyrna would be great. That would be my number one pick. Also, Nashville Fairgrounds. I want to stay away from more road courses because I like going left more than I do right. I'm tired of seeing cars go right, especially Kyle Busch's car going right when it needs to go left. Second off, one matter. About the renovations, things of that nature. Talladega, of course, was the big thing I read about, and I was curious because everybody got online and started talking about lights. And this has been proved by engineers and everything else in the area. Lights are not possible. There is a power grid infrastructure there, and it would not work. So don't get your hopes up on lights. From what I have read, Big Bills, actually, I know there was that 2019 renovation. The renovations weren't complete till 2021. They were still finalizing everything with Big Bills at that point. So I don't know what more they could do in the infield wise as far as that goes, because to Greg's point, Big Bills is nice. That whole area down there is nice. So I don't really know what they could do on that. Now, the big one, of course, is modernizing and making it look like Daytona. Of course, Daytona had they started the project in 2012, did not get finished until 2017, but they, of course, expanded seating on the front stretch, took away seating on the back stretch, and added more accessibility features such as escalators, elevators to the main concourse.
Is it a possibility that it could have to do with the surface on the track, like they're changing to a different type of asphalt surface onto Talladega?
Doubtful.
So that would be the only thing that I can think of, because they did a similar thing to Atlanta Motor Speedway when they did the reconfiguration and repave. They did the repave with a type of asphalt that helps kind of absorb and drain rainwater a little bit more efficiently. But with Talladega being such a massive facility, it would probably still take the same amount of time to dry the track if that were the case, if it were to rain.
That's not what I was referring to per se. I was referring to possibly increasing, like what they did at how do I remember this? When Indy I think it was IndyCar. They did a little bit of in Indianapolis, where they had a different type of diamond grinding, and it really messed up the tires with Michelin and Bridgestone, during that tire war. So I don't know if that's yeah.
I honestly don't see that happening, because yes, I get what you're saying. But Indianapolis is a whole different type of beast. There's no technical drafting involved. When you have Talladega, you have, drafting, you have a pack of cars, 2, 3, 4 wide, yes. and diamond grinding on the surface to, I guess, create some sort of tire wear.
Has some level of drafting.
Well, yes, but not as prevalent as Daytona or Talladega. But if you do something like that at Talladega and they're running 3, 4 wide, and someone is blowing a tire every 30 or 25, 30 laps, you're not going to have any cars left at the finish. Yeah, honestly.
True. Again, just spitballing questions here.
No, that's what this podcast is for. That's a fantastic question.
All right, my turn, please.
Yes, it is JP's turn. He has been waiting patiently.
And we do apologize.
All right. So, for class, I think they could add to the schedule. they, they tried dirt racing at Bristol, and that went over not too well. But I think if they went to a dirt track, there's 2 dirt tracks I think they could add. Knoxville Raceway right here in Iowa, and and let's see, and Tony Stewart's racetrack,
Okay.
Eldora Speedway.
Okay, so you're saying take them to Knoxville and Eldora, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the last time the NASCAR Cup Series drivers raced at Eldora was the prelude to the Dream, and they were not running their Cup cars. They were running super late models. That is the only way I would see the NASCAR Cup Series drivers returning to dirt, is if they were in an actual dirt late model car, not the Cup cars, not Xfinity cars, not trucks. You put them in actual dirt cars and test out their skills.
Yep.
Yeah. And in my opinion, if you're going to put a dirt track in anywhere other than Bristol, I would definitely love to see it in North Wilkesboro or hell even right here in Delaware, right here at Dover. Seeing dirt at Dover at the Monster Mile, that'd be very interesting.
A mile dirt track. I mean, it could be done. They did it with Bristol, but I don't see them putting dirt on North Wilkesboro.
Although technically Bristol's a super speedway, so it could get away with it.
Yes, but North Wilkesboro would probably be out of the question, considering they just repaved that track.
Correct. Maybe in the future, but as of right now, that surface is just too new. I agree with you on that.
Right, I know.
I was pitching that just for the future. I wasn't pitching that for the now.
No, I get what you're saying. Jamie, I know you got something to say real quick. In my personal opinion, like I said, I would love to see them go to like another short track or something for the Clash if it's not going to go back to Daytona. But if we're looking in the grand scheme of things and them possibly going to a new venue, it's most likely going to be a road course or a street course. And I know they've been talking about, we talked about it a few months ago, Philadelphia possibly, or maybe them doing a doubleheader with IndyCar in, Arlington, Texas, or San Antonio, whatever city that they're doing out in Texas. San Antonio, the IndyCar is doing. I could see them doing a doubleheader there. But as far as oval tracks, there's not really a whole lot of options. But Jamie, please go ahead.
Yeah, so kind of like the city built street courses, San Diego would be pretty interesting because they seem to have this infatuation with getting over to the West Coast. So that wouldn't be a bad spot to go to. But on the subject of turning dirt track, me and Eli were kind of talking about this last week of potentially taking a Las Vegas for the Clash or something like that and putting dirt on the Las Vegas and just seeing those cars rip around Las Vegas on the dirt. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on if that would even be something that you would even be interested in watching.
Vegas would be interesting in my opinion. Phoenix also would however be a bit of a stretch though. Because as soon as he said Vegas, I immediately thought Phoenix, and I'm like, I better spitball that out.
Well, let me ask you this: are you talking about Las Vegas Motor Speedway or the Bull Ring, which is the dirt track out back?
I was referring to the Motor Speedway, not necessarily the Bull Ring.
Well, with it being 1.5 miles, maybe. But with as big as that track is and the banking, the banking is a little bit more steeper than what Bristol is. and then you have the dog or the tri-oval dog leg there where the start finish line is. I don't know.
I just had an idea.
Yeah, the bull ring aspect of
If-
it, they definitely can't fit on the bull ring.
I just had an idea. Obviously, if we went to a full mile track like Dover, Las Vegas, etc., instead of making it full dirt, why not just a hybrid of the two? Have a clean straight, and going into the turn you have dirt, almost like a rally stage.
Not really, because we've talked about it before with the whole kind of gimmick things with NASCAR.
Yeah, that's exactly what's coming to mind.
Yeah, it would be too much of a gimmick, and then you would have to worry about the tire situation because you wouldn't know. I mean, with the dirt, they would have to put dirt tires on, and then if you're running down the straightaway, the back straight and the front stretch, you would eat up those tires like crazy. And they would probably be pitting like every 15 laps. But we are going to move on to our next topic. This was also put out today from our good friend Jeff Gluck. NASCAR President Steve O'Donnell sat down with Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic today and said, quote, our fans feel as if they have ownership in the sport. They have felt a little disconnected from that ownership position. We get that. We want to get the fans back to feeling that this is, quote, my sport. We're just all a part of it. Now, obviously, we've seen with, the chase returning and Charlotte going back to the oval in the chase. And it kind of seems like we're getting back to our roots as far as a sport and a fan base. But starting with Jamie, what are your thoughts on what maybe Steve O'Donnell was trying to say there?
I think NASCAR has probably more of a reliance on the fan base than probably most of the other sports. So to go with a statement of saying like the fans are trying to say this is our sport, I don't know if I would go that far as saying like I'm not going to say that NASCAR is my sport and they're all just a part of my sport. I would never take ownership of a sport. Now, am I a big fan of it? Yes. Do I pay money to go see races each year? Yes. Now, but at the same time, there has to be like a give and take when you can't you can't just be silencing the crowd, like the noise, when there's bad ideas thrown out there that they've just continuously did. So I would say in that aspect, that's probably what he's saying, is being more ears open to the fan base and the quirks of how NASCAR has been as of late, and using that as a way to try and rectify and rebuild the foundation of what will be the resurgence of the new regime. That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, no, so at the first part that you said I disagreed with, but the second part I did agree with. I mean, any one of us can vouch for this. The fans make the sport, no matter what it is. If we stop paying our hard-earned money to go see these events, most of these sports would probably be dead within 3 or 4 years, because most of their revenue is generated off of ticket sales.
Once upon a time, every year like clockwork, my grandfather would call the house and get me excited for NASCAR as a fan, because he said he would come down to Dover and watch the race. Now, me as an adult, grown up with my own money, I can't even purchase a ticket. NASCAR isn't the only league that has done this, that are driving the hardcore, the diehard fans like you, like Jamie, like Ryan, like JP, that are pushing them out, phasing them out because they want the money. They pushed me out a long time ago because they instituted a format that wasn't traditional racing that I grew up and loved. And the chase, I understood why they did the chase. I respect the chase. I hated the playoffs. I hated the car tomorrow. Even though it was a necessary step towards driver innovation. NASCAR is now hat in hand trying to get fans like me back into not only its viewing eyes on TV, but also its viewing eyes eventually in the stands. But unfortunately, because they have tried so hard to get the top dollar, they have squeezed me out like toothpaste out of a tube. So I can't feel excited. NASCAR has to do a lot more, and I mean a lot more, to win a fan that I used to be 20 years ago to come back into its loving embrace that it used to have.
Okay, well, thank you for your thoughts on that. I will say this: most tickets to races are somewhat affordable, depending on where you sit and if you want to like do camping or whatever. It's some of the outside stuff that prevents people from going, like hotel costs and all that stuff. I have a prime example. In a Discord server of mine, this gentleman posted earlier today, him and his buddy just booked a hotel room for this weekend for the Daytona 500. He's staying Friday through Sunday, and he just forked out $1,300 for the weekend for a hotel room. And he is not even staying in Daytona. He is staying in Jacksonville, which is 1 hour and 10 minutes north of Daytona. Yeah. Everything within 100 to 125 mile radius of any big event, whether it be the World Series, Super Bowl, Daytona 500, WrestleMania, or even I could even throw in Coca-Cola 600 weekend on Memorial Day weekend. Some of these outside things like hotels, they just jack up the prices because they know they can, and people will pay for it. I myself had a hotel room booked for Coca-Cola 600 weekend this year. It was going to cost me $600 for the weekend. And then on top of that, I was talking to my wife. We would most likely have to get a rental car because our personal car is not in the best shape. That was going to be an extra $800. So we were going to be spending $1,500 on extra expenses, not including food and gas, and race tickets just to go. So I canceled the whole trip.
And you also forgot other things as well. If you wanted to buy a t-shirt, a hat at the event, that's extra cost. Fuel, food after the event. If you get hungry after that, I mean, there's more expenses to it. I guarantee you, we can't even get a souvenir checkered flag for pennies nowadays.
Yep. No, I agree with you. It's become all about money. But
well, I mean, outside of the souvenirs and the ticket price, I don't really think NASCAR controls much of that. I mean, obviously, food price inside the stadium.
No, you're correct. So NASCAR is in charge mainly of ticket sales. The merchandise is a separate thing. The food cost is based on the venue, obviously. Prime example yesterday
but NASCAR owns like half the venues too.
Right. That is true. But I mean, yesterday at the big game, there was a burger that costed $180. And if someone wanted like an adult beverage, it was going to cost you $19, which is why I bring my own to the racetracks, because it would cost me cheaper to buy a 12-pack to go to a race than it would to be to buy one at a racetrack.
And that's the other thing.
Or get a plastic 40 or
they
something
will
like
let you
that.
bring anything, and I mean anything beverage-wise in.
Unless you're in Nashville, you can't even bring your own cooler in, but that's a different
yeah.
story for a different time.
But my biggest example though would be the time Bristol Motor Speedway had to check my cooler and saw a full gallon of chocolate milk.
Yeah, but no, we'll get Ryan's thoughts on this. You kind of joined a little late into the conversation. It was what I posted earlier about Steve O'Donnell talking to Jordan Bianchi about it says our fans feel as if they have an ownership in the sport. They feel disconnected, and we want to get the fans back to that ownership feeling. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think Cobra spoke a lot better to this because obviously the rest of us have all kind of been actively bought into the sport.
Yeah, and I'm
invested as fans.
I am the spurned fan that has long since stepped away from the sport just because I used to love it, but I just can't get back. NASCAR has to earn my love again. That's the best way I can describe it. Now I will look at it as an observer and say, oh, hey, there you are. You're still floating around. How you doing? That type of thing. But I don't have that love I used to have seeing 43 cars go around the track anymore. It's the best way I can describe it.
That is like 36.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! I just had an okay boomer moment again.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, when it comes to the fans though taking ownership in the sport, like it's a weird concept because obviously, as fans, yes, we go and we especially for the diehard fans who, which again, Jamie, JP, Greg, we are all pretty much entirely bought into this.
Yeah.
And those travel expenses again for being one of the big things that limits the amount of races I can go to. And like for me, I'm not if I'm going to a race, it's absolutely going to be for every event on the weekend. If it's a triple header, if it's a quadruple header, because it just makes it makes it way more sense for me to go if I can go and see multiple races.
The silver lining I could say is this. The good news is this bubble of hell that we are experiencing will burst. The bad news is we don't know when it will.
Yep. JP, what about you?
Okay, finally, I get to go. So NASCAR, it depends on who you talk to. I know with my personal experience being inside the sport, I've met some good people who have helped me with my own program at NASCAR. And I just think the Kyle was a wake up call to everyone at NASCAR, and now they're wanting to listen to their fans so that they don't get in another situation. Because I love NASCAR and I hated seeing them go through what they went through. And, and the people at NASCAR have been really good to my program, like I said. And I I just I just think Steve O'Donnell comments were directed towards all its fans for saying that they are committed to making the sport better and listening to more fans like you, me, Greg, and even Cobra.
No, I understand where you're coming from, and I think that's the point that was trying to get across is like from everybody that was speaking is like, you know, it's funny that you brought up the trial. Obviously, we all saw what happened with Steve Phelps. He resigned after the trial, and it kind of seems like to me that NASCAR is kind of doing somewhat damage control, if you will.
Yeah.
And they're actually finally listening to us after we've been screaming in their ears for the last 5-10 years about what we want to see as far as on-track product. And now all of a sudden, you know, within the last month or so, we've got the chase back. We've got Charlotte back on the oval in the fall. And like, you know, Steve O'Donnell saying that we want to get back to what our fans want and all that stuff. It seems like they're just like, okay, well, we've been seeing this and we didn't want to do it, but now that we've pretty much been exposed, we're gonna revert back to some of the stuff that we used to do.
Well,
So-
the main reason they couldn't hear us screaming was they had all that Brian France drug money plugging up their ears.
I mean, Brian France literally hasn't been in the sport since his arrest in what 2019.
It was
Yeah.
the day after Chase
2018,
Elliott.
2018.
The day after Chase Elliott got his first Cup win, he celebrated a little too hard.
Yeah, but yeah, he's been out of the sport now for over half a decade.
Yep. But I mean, you know,
But-
but you guys get what I'm saying though. Like we've been
Yeah.
screaming for more horsepower in these cars for what 3 or 4 or 5 years now, and then all of a sudden, oh, let's add 80 extra horsepower on the road courses and short tracks and see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
Oh, we've been
Yeah,
wanting a new manufacturer in NASCAR. All of a sudden, Dodge is coming back in the Truck Series.
Yeah,
You know.
Ram and Stellantis, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're going to be in the Cup Series in 2027.
I was like 2027 feels like a really big rush because I mean to get your plans up, to get your plans and designs for the
I'm surprised NASCAR hasn't tried to push Kia into it over Dodge, but it's a slippery slope. It's a very slippery slope.
Well, I did see earlier today, and this is kind of, you know, off topic because we need to keep moving, but I'll just throw this out there real quick. Obviously, you know, Ram and Stellantis coming back into the Truck Series. They want to be back in the Cup Series by 2027. Most likely going to be Kaulig Racing, if I had to guess. They did say that they're in talks with a 5th potential OEM manufacturer, and the leading candidate is Honda.
Which, in my opinion, makes a lot more sense than Kia or Hyundai.
Yep.
Honda has a lot more pedigree in motorsport.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
All right. But yeah, one thing I wanted to mention though is, you know, what if with all these changes that they're making, if the TV ratings and the majority of the older fans still never come back? Because like they can make all these changes, there's still the what if those fans don't return.
Yeah, I know, and I'm one of those older fans.
Well, then my hope is that they keep changing stuff to adhere to the fans, because what we want is great on-track product racing and activation pre-race. Like if you go to a race and you're in the fan zone, you want to see those sponsors out there doing stuff with the fans. You want to see more drivers out there doing autograph sessions. Like the last time I saw a massive autograph session from a driver or team was Atlanta 2015, 11 years ago. All of the RFK Racing drivers that were currently on that team in 2015 were out there doing autograph sessions, and they were completely free. They were just
Yeah, you had to buy $50 in merch to get the autograph.
Exactly. They had one of those pop-up canopy tents, and they had a table set up, and you didn't have to buy anything, you didn't have to bring anything. They had hero cards out there. I met Chris Buescher that year when he was driving the 60 car for the what is now the O'Reilly series, and it was when he was running the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles car that day. And did an autograph, took a picture, and you went about your way. Like that's what I personally want to see, is just more activation pre-race.
Yeah.
And
I
better on
remember,
track.
2019 getting a autographed hero card
JP
from Bubba Wallace at the Air Force booth.
Yeah, JP had something to add.
Jamie had his hand up first. You're muted, sir.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can't hear you.
What in the world's going on here?
Cannot hear you.
His AirPod might be dying.
All right, JP, go ahead while Jamie figures that out.
So, I think more competitions with drivers would be a good fit. And I say that because I went to a race last year and they had a trivia show with with two of the drivers. Do that every single track, which I don't think they do.
I see what you're saying. Like what I mean by like activation is like, do you guys remember when Wendy's first came into the sport as a sponsor?
Mm-hmm.
The first year I went to, I think it was Atlanta. Wendy's was out there in the fan zone with a tent, and they were giving away free Baconators to every person who walked up. And to me, that made me think, okay, well, I got a free Baconator pre-race. So after the race, if I'm hungry, I'm going to go to Wendy's and buy some food. It really gets the brains thinking for the fans of what sponsors are doing what, and it makes you want to go get their products.
This also is going to sound a little old school, but this would also work as well. The NASCAR drivers need to be characters. Not only they not only have to be characters on the track, but characters in their sponsor's commercial.
Yep.
Facts.
You're 100% correct. There was a great commercial during the big game last night. It was a Toyota Racing, and Bubba Wallace was one of the front and center drivers, and I thought it was insanely cool to see something like that. But Jamie, go ahead.
I was about to say before, I was about to say, it reminds me of when Jeff Gordon was part of Pepsi. Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right. Y'all can hear me now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey. Okay. So talking about like the fan experience, the one thing that I would love to see them bring back, how many of you remember like when NASCAR was in your town and you got the newspaper and you saw on Monday, X driver will be at Walmart, or on Tuesday and Wednesday, you can find show cars at this store or at that place.
Yes, I remember seeing Bill Elliott's 94 Thunderbird at a Harrington McDonald's. I remember that.
those are the things that I think is probably not necessarily the like yes, they hear NASCAR, like they hear our fans like talking about the on track product, but if they just got a little bit more connected with the fan base in that sense, like bring back some of the show cars and make the whole NASCAR experience like a full week thing instead of, hey, come to our track on these 3 days and we're going to condense everything down to just your whole experience on those 3 days. Spread it out throughout the week. Let the city know. Let the locals feel NASCAR's presence
Yes.
that entire week.
Yep.
Yep. No, I agree.
And again, another instance of Cobra aging himself by saying Bill Elliott 94 Thunderbird.
Oh yeah,
But,
I got to see I actually met Bill Elliott at a McDonald's in Dover inadvertently. I didn't even know he was going to be there. They didn't even have the show car out. It was when they first started packaging up their own like Happy Meal toys with the Bill Elliott 94
that you
cars.
could actually put the stickers right on them. So
Yep.
Yep.
But he just happened to be there, and my God, that guy was tall.
All right. Well, let's get to Ryan real quick because we are way over on this segment.
Yeah, well, as I say, you guys talking about all that. NASCAR has only been to my state 3 times ever, so a little jealous of you guys. And by the way, those 3 years, in case anyone's wondering, those 3 years NASCAR has been in my state, 1966, 67, and 68.
inaugural seasons.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that's been a long time. But
Yeah.
all right, we are gonna move on to our next segment, which is our recap segment. But before we get there, by a show of hands, who here likes to collect diecasts?
I used to years ago.
All right. Well, if you're a diecast collector like me, please go check out circlebdiecast.com for all of your diecast needs, including the new 2026 paint schemes, including the Noah Gregson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Kyle Larson, everything that you need. Circle B Diecast has it. Enter promo code LAPDOWN at checkout for $5 off of your order. They have all that you need for your diecast needs.
Don't forget to check out the deal today. They currently have BJ McLeod diecast up here right now, Greg. If you see that on the screen.
Yeah, I do. I do see that. I'm a big fan of good old BJ McLeod there. But we are going to move into our recap segment finally.
And I hate to say it, guys, I have to get out of here. I will see y'all next time.
Yep, no
Later.
problem, man. Thank you. But we're going to move into our recap segment. The Clash at Bowman Gray, or should I say the Marathon at Bowman Gray, was quite the event last Wednesday night. The first 100 laps of the race before the halftime break saw 4 caution flags for incident. And then after, it was 2?
Pretty sure it was only 2.
I saw on social media it was 4. I could be wrong. It was somewhere between 2 and 4. We'll meet in the middle and say 3. How about that? But after the halftime break, the Cup cars went into the garage area for their 8-minute tire change, fuel fill up, and adjustments. Came back out, or right before they came back out, it started raining, and then it started sleeting, and then it was snowing at the same time because, North Carolina weather is so great during the wintertime. I'm just kidding, North Carolinians. Don't take offense to that. This was a freak thing. It's a really weird winter this year for the entire Southeast. But they came out and paced for what seemed like forever. And NASCAR finally allowed them to go back into the garage area to put the wet weather tires on while they brought the jet dryers out to blow the standing water off the track. And when they finally restarted, the final 100 laps saw 14 caution flags, give or take. It may have been 15. It was just It was an event. I'll put it at that. I'm trying to keep it G/PG rated here. But it ended up in the end, finally. What did Ryan send me here? Oh, he sent me the stats for the clash. I will read those off real quick. The average speed was 21.39 miles per hour. 2 hours and 15 minutes of caution / red flags. 17 total cautions / red flags, delayed twice because of snow, and the conclusion of the race was moved to FS2 from Big Fox because they went way over their time window for this event. I posted this in our group chat the other night when the race was going on. The Clash at Daytona fans were pointing and laughing at NASCAR, but in the end, it saw Ryan Preece finally getting his first NASCAR Cup Series win, albeit not a points race. It's still a win in my book, and I'm a big fan of Ryan Preece, so I was happy to see him get the win. But Jamie, starting with you, what were your thoughts on the clash at Snowman Gray Stadium?
Drawn out. It took way too long to get it done from a starting standpoint to an in-race standpoint. To a point where I went to church, got out of church, turned on NASCAR radio on Sirius XM to only hear the commentators this was just for context, this is at the point when they were getting caution. They were getting a caution like after one lap for like 3 to 4 restarts in a row. And hearing the color commentators feels disgruntled and being like, these are our best guys, and we can only make it a lap. To the point where they were scrambling to find something to talk about because they were very displeased with how everything was going. And you could tell they were tired of calling the race from how long they have already been doing it. It had some good action. I'll give it that. It had some good action, had some tricky situations, but it just took way too long to start. They didn't have no contingency plans there, and you could definitely see that they were bound and determined to get it done that night.
No, I 100% agree. Just for context for the listeners who may not have seen the clash started shortly after 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday night, and it did not end until almost 10 p.m. A 200 lap race on a quarter-mile track with great conditions should have taken maybe an hour and a half if on a good night. This took almost 3.5 to 4 hours. I'm sorry.
And I really felt bad for those fans there.
Yes. To also put into context, like I said, how wacky the weather has been in the Southeast the last few weeks. Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi recorded the teardown literally immediately after the clash ended, and they did their podcast in about an hour or so, and Jeff Gluck went outside and it was snowing in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So I am 100% glad that they were able to get the race in, albeit as long as it took. And I got to give props to the city of Winston-Salem and the DOT and all of the track officials, the fans, even some of the drivers who went out there and cleared the snow just so that they could put this race on Wednesday night. But Ryan, what about you?
So yeah, I mean, first things first, I feel like this race already felt long just from how long we've been waiting from Sunday all the way to Wednesday. Yeah, because on Sunday, fairly early in the day, we got the notification that it would be delayed to Monday. Then Monday, we get the notification that it would be delayed to Wednesday. then we get through the first 100 laps, and honestly, there was a point during the period where they were just pacing for seemingly no reason that I actually kind of asked the question, like, we are officially halfway. Could we just call this official and be done with this? Because, I mean, at that point, we were hearing on the radio from guys like Ryan Preece how, I mean, yeah, it is extremely unsafe to drive in those kinds of weather conditions without a windshield wiper. I mean, Rain-X can do a lot, but at some point it is going to fade. And especially at those low of speeds, it's like, okay, you're gonna have a lot of rain on the windshield, which is gonna make it even harder to drive without wrecking. So, and that was kind of my biggest thing is I actually got to the point where I was like, yeah, they could call this.
Yep.
Early.
Not to mention, the glare that some of the drivers were talking about from the colors of the other cars, the stadium lights themselves. Like it was just kind of a bad situation all around. And
yeah, it had 100 laps of good racing. If you honestly just called it after that first 100, I mean, yeah, there'd be some fans, especially fans in the stands, who were disappointed they didn't get the full show in. But I think for the most part, you'd have a very satisfied fan base. I think.
Yeah,
I'd say about 75 to 80% would be satisfied. Right now, I feel like there's about maybe 60% that are remotely satisfied.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it kind of
I mean, the
reminded
fact that the
me.
average race speed is almost down to school zone levels of speed.
Yeah. No, I mean, it kind of reminded me of the Rolex 24 a couple weeks ago where they paced for 6.5 hours under yellow flag conditions because of fog at Daytona.
Yeah, I was able to go to bed, wake up, and I didn't miss a lap of green flag racing.
Right. I listened to Door Bumper Clear today. They recorded an episode on last week before the Clash, and they were talking about, the Rolex 24. It was 6.5 hours under yellow. They did 120 laps around Daytona without a single green flag run. Like they literally went the entire night portion of the 24-hour race without any green flag racing almost.
Yeah, well, hey, that must be the freshest they've had for drivers to checkers, though, because the drivers weren't missing it. Were able to really relax and rest through the nighttime.
Yep. But JP, what about you? What were your thoughts on the Clash?
Okay, my thoughts on the Clash real quick is unlike gaming, I had basketball practice, something going on, and I did not miss anything. I got to watch the last Hunger Laps because of that. And, you know, I feel for our good friend Bob Puppis. I spoke to him the other day, and I simply asked him. I said, I said, are you? How was it down there? And he said he was still kind of warm up from it. So even the reporters were getting tired, and I could tell by the way Bob responded to that first question in that conversation that um he was glad it was over.
No, I understand that. Like I said, the weather in the southeast has been absolutely wacky the last couple of weeks. Like not this past weekend, but the week before we had the snow in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Like we got some snow down here. The week before we had an ice storm here, and the week before that we had severe weather. Like I saw a stat that said the only weekend in the month of January going into February where the Southeast didn't have a major weather event was the weekend right after New Year's. Other than that, every weekend in the Southeast had some sort of weather event, and it just seemed like kind of, Mother Nature had it out for us. And unfortunately, NASCAR came to town, and Mother Nature was like, well, here you go, NASCAR. Here's a foot of snow at Bowman Gray. And then while the race is going, I'm going to dump rain, sleet, and snow on top of you and, make it even longer. To put it into perspective, the Clash was 200 laps, green flag laps only. Caution laps did not count. In total, the NASCAR Cup Series ran almost 400 laps at Bowman Gray on Wednesday night, including green flag and yellow flag laps, to the point where some teams ended up running out of fuel late in the race. And that included, Kyle Larson and William Byron, and I think it was there was a Gibbs car mixed in there. And so NASCAR had to make the decision late in the race, okay, well, we're going to delay it even further and allow the teams to come in and refuel just so they have enough gas to make it to the checkered flag. And there was, I don't know if you guys saw it, there was a little bit of controversy with the Carson host of our team where they put slicks back on, and NASCAR...
Yeah, they were...
And NASCAR,
all pun intended.
Yep. And NASCAR didn't say, well, you can put slicks back on. You had to leave the wet weather tires on, which, we're going over here. But real quick, it brings me to another point. NASCAR needs to get out of that conversation as far as whether the teams can decide whether they want to put slicks or wet weather tires on. That should be totally up to the team's perspective and opinion on the track conditions. What do you think, Jamie?
I am 100% in agreement of that. We're now at a point where, yes, you want to err on the side of safety. We showcased what the wet weather tires can do. We showed what they look like on dry surfaces. Now it's time for you to pull the reins back, loosen up that leash, and let the strategy take place in these races. That is 100% a great thing for NASCAR because it adds yet another dynamic that these crew chiefs can now plan for, as to being strategic as to when they want to deploy their wet weather tires, and as opposed to when they want to deploy their regular tires, their slicks, to try to gain that additional advantage. So I am 100% agreeing in that.
Yep. Ryan just texted me this. He had to step away for a quick second. He'll be right back. We were talking about, the fuel situation. Briscoe's team said they were good on fuel and thought that the red flag actually allowed them to refuel hurt their chances of winning. Now, I mean, there were talks of some teams during the halftime break that didn't refuel all the way because they were concerned about the weight in their cars. And how it allowed them to get around the track. But in my personal opinion, with the wet weather conditions, I don't really think weight in the cars really mattered at that point. It was all about how you could manage your wet weather tires at that point. And I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but it seemed like every single car in that field was involved in some sort of incident Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Like I saw like so many damaged cars. Like even Ryan Preece, the winner, had some sort of tire marks or scuff marks or paint chips on his car. Like it was crazy. And it brings me to a question.
As you should after a race of the Madhouse.
Right. No, I agree. That, I mean, they call it the Madhouse for a reason. But before we move on, it hasn't been announced if the Clash is returning to Bowman Gray next year. If not, would you guys? I mean, we saw Crash Fest Wednesday night, pretty much. Would you guys like to see it back at Daytona? If not, where else would you like to see it? Starting with Jamie.
I definitely don't want it back at Bowman Gray solely because of timing. I like the track. I like the idea of the. I like the racing that has been at that track. It's just the timing that they want to do it is all wrong because it is even on a year where there's not snow and all that stuff. It's still really cold out. Um, alternatively, I don't know if I don't necessarily want to see it go back to Daytona. I don't. I could see if they want to keep it in like areas that might be year round better. Um, maybe go into like a stadium series. Try to get contracts with some of like Central to West Coast, uh, like baseball stadiums, college football stadiums, things like that. Because the Clash out there, Clash at the Coliseum, it was all right. It was watchable. It was a cool concept, and it drew a lot of viewers because they weren't sure what the layout was going to look like, especially with like how the stadium was built. I know that they had talked at one point in time doing it to what was it, Dodger Stadium? There's a potential track being built there. So I think
Yeah,
something
Dodger
like
Stadium
that
was
for the
really
Flash would, yeah. So maybe doing something like that. Get some contracts out there, get some feelers on what it would take to bring a NASCAR experience to a baseball field or to another college football field, and just go that way. I think I think they have the right concept, just not the right placement.
University of
All right.
Texas.
I was gonna say, Ryan, what do you think, bud?
Well, when you say other college football stadiums, and again, especially if you're looking for consistent weather, it's like, okay, you're looking kind of that southwest area, similar to the LA Memorial Coliseum. And first one that comes to mind for me is University of Texas is a big stadium. I mean, I don't know if they would be open to doing that, but I think that would give you a Texas presence that isn't Coda and isn't the Texas Motor Speedway, which at this point I think we're all a little tired of both of those tracks. But obviously, you don't want to abandon the state of Texas as a whole with how big it is as a state and honestly as a market for NASCAR fans.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That would be
Yep.
somewhere I would like to see them experiment with if they do go with the stadium concept. Although we obviously talked earlier when we talked new venue, if you want to do it in Florida, there's a couple of good short track options. New Smyrna and Five Flags that we mentioned would both be potential options. So, I mean, there's a few different options. It just depends on what way NASCAR wants to go with it. If they want to go back to the stadium concept, like I always felt like the baseball stadium felt like it was too small. Baseball stadium would be even smaller than Bowman Gray, and Bowman Gray is already very compact.
Yeah.
But my biggest reason, and I'll go ahead and say this because I don't think anyone else has said it really. My biggest thing against going back to Daytona is that the bigger teams that know that they're going to be in contention for the Daytona 500 were the last several years of the Daytona Clash. We're just using it as a test session. So unless you do something wildly different to the cars for the Clash, which I mean, hey, if you want to try something wildly different for the Clash, then yeah, maybe Daytona could work. Something that would be absolutely impractical, no relevant data to carry over to the Daytona 500 1 week later. But for the most part, I'd rather see them continue experimenting with other short tracks.
No, I see where you're coming from, and I'm gonna have something that may come across as controversial, but I'm gonna get JP's thoughts real quick.
All right, this may come across that's controversial too, but why not? Why not take the class, put it indoors at Indianapolis at the Colts Stadium?
Well, first off, JP, I mean, well, I guess if trying to remember, Colts have a retractable roof, right?
Hmm.
Okay, because yeah, you'd have to do it at a retractable roof um, because you need to be able to vent the car exhaust, otherwise you kill everybody inside. But
Carbon
two,
monoxide poisoning.
yeah, but two, and this is a reason why we haven't been talking NFL teams. I mean, I know people are going to joke about it, but there were real worries um, about 3 months ago that the Colts might be in the playoffs / Super Bowl, which would mean their stadium would still need to be usable down the stretch of the season. And again, any given year, you try that with any NFL team. It's like, okay, if they tried that with, for example, Denver and the Broncos, yeah, Denver was hosting a playoff game as late as 2, 3 weeks ago, the week before the clash.
Right.
So NFL stadiums, I think, are pretty much off the table there.
Yep. Well, I have two
Not to
options.
mention, Indy also has a pretty good short track to go to with IRP.
That too. But I have two options. Number one, you take the Clash back to Daytona, but it's pole winners and chase drivers only. So you get 15, 20 cars. It's not open anymore like it has been in recent years. And you make it 20 laps like it was back in the old days. It's not necessarily a test session. It's just to give the fans a feeler of what the Daytona 500 might be like. Or two, JP said something about a indoor thing. Take them out to Oklahoma, make it pole winners and chase participants only. So 15 to 20 cars, but you put them in the quarter midgets and make them run the Chili Bowl.
I mean, most of them already run the Chili Bowl anyway.
I would be open to the Clash being on modifieds or sprints or anything like that, and just getting NASCAR's best doing that. But another thought that I had is the only way that I would ever want to see the Clash come back to Daytona is if they keep the circuit that they use for the Rolex
Yeah, Daytona Road Course
and
would
just
be
made it as like the Roval kind of thing.
Yeah. The Daytona Road Course is an interesting one. Again, I don't like the idea of having to modify the course and the fact that NASCAR had to modify the course to run it safely. I mean, I know it wasn't a big modification, but just that little divot seemed really goofy.
No,
Yeah, but that'd be the only thing that could bring them back to Daytona for like to get kind of give. It's kind of like a give and take, for the fans that really want like the Days of Thunder vibes of we're gearing up for Daytona racing. But it would still be different at the same time. Where
What about this? I think it'd be interesting what if you put the Cup drivers and had them run, like the ARCA cars around Daytona instead. It would be
Why, 'cause
almost
they're faster?
unapplicable to the Daytona 500, but would still be super fun and would give us the proof of, okay, is it an ARCA car problem or is it a ARCA driver problem that causes the ARCA race to be a mess?
No, that would be fun. Honestly, I didn't think about that, but no,
also,
great.
90% of the Cup teams either have an ARCA team or are closely affiliated with an ARCA team.
Yeah, no, I agree, but we got. Unfortunately, as good as this conversation is, we have to move on because we are way over time right now. But, boys, we made it. It is Daytona week.
Let's go.
I am so ready to see NASCAR back on my screen starting on Wednesday for 5 days in a row. You have Cup pole qualifying on Wednesday night. You have the dual races Thursday night. You have the truck race Friday night. You have ARCA and O'Reilly's on Saturday. And then you have the Daytona 500 on Sunday. I am so ready. And I'm just going to kind of breeze through this a little bit. Like I said, truck race Friday night. It is a stacked field. Absolutely stacked. Some of the freaking names in this truck race. Norm Benning, Michael McDowell, Brendan Queen, Minnie Tyrell, who won the race for the seat for Colleague Racing. Tony Stewart is going to be running a Colleague Ram truck. John Hunter Nemechek for Stuart Friesen, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Travis Pastrana, Cletus McFarland, as long as he passes his truck test at Rockingham tomorrow. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Like, this field may be one of the most competitive truck fields I have seen in recent years. And I honestly, other than the 500, I am so excited for the truck race Friday night. I cannot absolutely wait for that truck series race. The O'Reilly's race on Saturday, you have freaking Carson Hocevar in that race. And obviously the regulars, but there's a few kind of big names out there. Patrick Emmerling running for RSS Racing, Jordan Anderson for his own team. And then you get to Sunday, which obviously Wednesday and Thursday is going to determine the Daytona 500 field, but 45 cars for 41 spots, and there are 8
Wait a
open.
minute. Hold up. The one car for Tricon Garage is still TBA?
Yes, as of right now.
Wow.
Yep. But for the
14, we kind of know who's going to get the 14 at this point. They're doing the whole reality TV show thing to build up the hype for the winner of that. Just looking through the entry list. There's still a McAnally truck that's TBA?
Yep. The full entry list for the truck field hasn't been, like Bob put it out a few hours ago, but there's a few drivers that haven't been listed quite yet.
Yeah, the 19. I mean, that was a playoff. That was a playoff truck last year.
Yep. But getting to Sunday, like I was saying, Wednesday and Thursday is going to determine the Daytona 500 field. We have 45 cars vying for a 41 car field. There's 8 open cars for 4 spots. You have Chandler Smith in the 36, Justin Allgaier for Junior Motorsports in the 40, JJ Yaley in the 44, Anthony Alfredo in the 62, Casey Mears in the 66, Corey Heim, BJ McLeod, Corey LaJoy running a 4th entry for RFK Racing. And then you have Jimmy Johnson in the 84, who will take the open exemption provisional, which means he is automatically locked into the field no matter what happens, but he will not receive any points or prize money from the race. I'm just like, I cannot say that I've been this excited for Daytona week in a few years, honestly. Jamie, what about you?
I'm glad that you're sharing my excitement. Do you know what this feels like to me, Greg? This feels like if WWE was getting ready to present WrestleMania. You have the Truck Series. So for our listeners who may not be wrestling fans, how they do it is you have your opening match as the tone setter for the weekend. And then you have your mid card, and then you have your main event. You get the duels. That is your opener. all the drama that's going to be coming in, vying for those spots. And then you get the truck race. The truck race, by far, is to me the most interesting. Yes, the Cup Series will always be the main event because it's the Daytona 500, as it should be. But when it comes to my personal interests of how it's going to turn out, that Truck Series race is going to be the one that, even if I'm working, I'm going to be recording and making sure I'm watching that thing from start to finish.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna. It is going to be lit Friday night.
Oh yeah,
Quick
and
question,
this
because this is something I think we need to talk about here as we're getting close to Daytona 500, obviously. When is Brad Keselowski due to get cleared? And if he isn't cleared, who takes the 6?
I actually have some information on that. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Where is it?
Yeah, because obviously last week before the clash, Keselowski revealed that he doesn't even have a valid NASCAR driver's license at the moment.
Yeah, no, I saw that. This was posted by Jeff Gluck a few hours ago. Brad Keselowski has been cleared to race this season, beginning at Daytona, following rehab from his leg injury. He did a test at Charlotte earlier today, in which he passed with flying colors.
Okay, so Keselowski's in.
Yes, so Brad
right.
Keselowski will be racing
That
in
is
2026.
okay, so either he didn't break his leg fully, or that has got to be one of the most incredible recoveries from a broken leg I've ever seen.
No, they said that he is still healing in the healing process, but his leg is healed enough to where he can drive this weekend.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just remember, obviously, it was a much more vicious crash and he broke both legs, but Kyle Busch was down for a third of a season. Keselowski lost, what, a month?
Yes. This is from Bob. Brad Keselowski okayed for Daytona after Charlotte on-track test today. A January 30th X-ray showed just enough healing that he was able to get back in the car.
All right, well, hopefully he has a nice, safe Daytona Speed Week, because we don't need a re-injury.
Right. But, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked, and I love the fact that obviously I kind of wish that we had like the full week long event, but we still have because like the traditional clash the week before was kind of a nice way to tie it in, but I also understand with both where the NFL puts the Super Bowl on the calendar currently, you can't really race the Sunday before to kind of continue to build up hype. But yeah, as I say, 5 full days of action Wednesday through Sunday. You got Daytona time trials. You got the duels, trucks, ARCA, Xfinity, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and the Cup Series. A full slate of action. I mean, it's a ton of fun. I would love to go down there for Speed Week one of these years. But yeah, it looks to be a very fun weekend planned. And just to touch on this briefly, I know we were talking earlier about the on-track product. Something I think that NASCAR could absolutely do would be if they gave Cup teams and their practice session earlier in the weekend, giving the drivers reason to be in town for longer rather than flying in the day before, practice and qualify all on one day, and then race the very next day.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid those one-day shows.
Yeah. JP, what about you?
All right. So I am fired up for Daytona. It's going to be an interesting weekend. unfortunately, I won't be home for the spring series of O'Reilly Series race because I will be singing the national anthem. Um, but I am looking forward to getting home on Wednesday, watching qualifying, getting home from my basketball game, and watching cars go around Thursday night, and that truck race. I'm going to be glued. And I have a bold prediction. Your winner of the truck race is going to be Tony Stewart.
I mean, that's not
Bold.
really not really a bold prediction. We all know he's got the skills. If you wanted to make a bold prediction, I'm going to make one. I say Cletus McFarland takes the checkered flag.
Okay, there's bold and there's stupid.
He's flying out there like a soaring
think-
eagle, getting checker
Because
flag.
Give me all of
do
the
think
chaos
that-
on Friday. Give me all of it.
Because I do think that Tony Stewart has. I do think that Tony Stewart has a chance, but I would also question just how much rust there is going to be because, I mean, yeah, he's been driving, but he's been doing drag racing, and I mean, I guess the SRX experience wasn't too far ago, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a little while since he's been behind the wheel of a NASCAR vehicle, let alone a NASCAR truck. So I
Yeah.
don't think Tony Stewart is necessarily a shoe-in for it, especially with a brand new Dodge program that who knows if it's going to be a good program or a bad program when it comes to how far up the field they're going to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're hoping for the best, but
But
with Cletus, I was like, while I love his personality, I think he's a great personality. I see him being the cause of the big one in the Friday truck race.
well,
And sometimes as the cause of it, you can skate by, but more often than not, you're going to end up in it.
that's true. But let's all agree that if Cletus were to win Friday night, it would feed families for generations.
For sure.
I don't.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be entertaining. I'm just saying, in terms of boldness, might be too bold.
Maybe. Before we move on, I don't want to be that guy or that person, but there is the potential for a storm system to affect the southeast United States this weekend. And as of right now, there is a 40% chance of rain on Sunday. Which, if it stays the way it is, it could push the 500 to being a night race on Sunday night. Mother Nature heard us talking crap last season and decided to throw us a few curveballs to start the year. But we will obviously talk about that as it gets a little closer. Before we go and make our picks, Eli is not here or he was here, but he had to step out because he is actually packing for and getting ready to leave for Daytona. He sent me the betting odds for Daytona this weekend. If you guys are betting gentlemen, this segment is called Eli's Betting Odds, and I will be technically filling in for him. As of right now, the betting odds are Ryan Blaney and William Byron are opening at plus 1,200 for Daytona this weekend. Denny Hamlin actually dropped from 1,400 to plus 900. And Kyle Busch opened up at plus 2,000 on the weekend.
Did we do green flags, black flags, or are we getting to that still?
I honestly kind of left that out because we are like way over time right now.
Fair enough.
So we will do green flags and black flags after Daytona, which we kind of already aired out our grievances from the Clash. So
I just had a positive I wanted to say.
no, go ahead, please go ahead.
Well, so far on the year, we're 1-1. We're one race in, one win for Ryan's.
That is true. And we do have, like I said, we do have Daytona coming up this weekend. And the last race at Daytona was won by a Ryan. So, I mean, the odds are in your favor, sir. But
well, Daytona also doesn't typically play too nice with Ryan's.
That is true.
I mean, how many times has Blaney been in position to win Daytona 500s?
Yeah.
And hasn't gotten them?
Yeah. But as the same as last year, Kyle Busch opened up as the betting favorite at plus 2,000. So if you are a betting person, maybe bet on Kyle Busch a little bit. But we are going to move into our race picks. Congrats to Ryan for winning the Clash picks last week.
Another win for Ryan.
Mr. William Byron. I do have our names on the Wheel of Destiny. And the first pick for the first points race of 2026 goes to me. So I get the first pick of the year besides the Clash. Let's see.
And these picks will start counting towards our usages, which I will be keeping track of.
Yes. To reiterate, every person in picks this year will be allowed to pick the same driver twice before the chase. So you have 26 races. You can pick the same driver only 2 times. So, JP, you cannot pick Kyle Larson every single week anymore. But when the chase starts, it's free game. You can pick the same driver every week if you want to. I am going to take the same pick that I had last year. I am taking Kyle Busch. I think 2026 is the year he finally gets it done. And the next pick goes to, let's see here, stop wheel, Ryan.
All right. Well, I guess after what I said earlier, I think I kind of have to do it. I got to lean into one of the Ryans. Do I go Priest? Do I go Blaney? Is Ryan Vargas racing?
Nope, he does Monster Jam now.
Yeah. Man, who else? Do we have any other Ryans on the schedule? Let me just see.
I think it's just Priest and Blaney, honestly. I honestly don't think there's any more Ryans on the entry list for Daytona.
The Garage 66 entry is still TBA, so that could be a Ryan.
Garage 66 is Casey Mears.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
They still have it listed as TBA on NASCAR's website.
Well, yeah, according to Bob, it says TBA, but in parentheses, it says Casey Mears.
Okay. Weird, but yeah, so I will go ahead and I will take Blaney. Ryan Priest, I'm just a little too scared that he might need that spacesuit again.
Right. All right, next pick of the night.
It's not kind to Ryan.
Goes to Mr. JP.
All right. Great.
How bold we going?
We are going more. JP more. The 84 of
How many of these are we going to have?
Jimmy Johnson.
All right. Well, I mean, Jimmy Johnson is locked into the field, so.
And he finished third last year.
That is true. I mean,
it wasn't without a ton of controversy to get there, but he did get there.
Yep. Well, for some reason, my phone is messing up, but we all know that the last pick goes to Jamie.
Yeah. Well, the two drivers I was going to choose for this week are actually still on the board. So this actually makes it pretty interesting. So to kick off the official 2026 season, I'm going with Carson Hocevar.
Ooh.
Okay, interesting.
Ooh. I don't think Hocevar got picked all of last season.
He did not.
I thought I would have picked him at least once.
The man won a lot of polls, but we all seen the track record.
I have the old file in my docs drive. I can go back and look and see if he got picked. But now interesting picks, boys. Those are good. As always, I will get.
Can I just point out defending back-to-back winner? No, William Byron did not get picked.
Oh, I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will when I go get to the rest of the picks this week. I will try to get them before Thursday, before the duels. But before we close,
It's called strategy.
Oh yeah, true. Before we close the show out, it is time for another fantastic edition of Jamie's Trivia. And for our new listeners, what this is Jamie will ask us a trivia question. No phones involved, hands up. And we will give our
camera, but
we will give our best guess to answer the trivia question. If one of us gets it correct, we get a bonus point towards our race picks total. If we get it wrong, Jamie gets the bonus point. So, Jamie, what do you have for us for Daytona?
Well, this is actually not going to be more specifically towards Daytona, but more towards the standing occasion of Ryan Preece getting a win, whether it be points race or not. So Ryan Preece, contrary to popular belief, has not won a lot. But tonight's question is, what year and what track did he get his first win in? And this, obviously, this is all three series. This is not catered to one particular series. So what track and what year did he get his first win?
Okay, does this include ARCA or just the top three?
Top three.
Okay. All right, Ryan.
I believe it was Spring Bristol in, what was the year? I believe it was 2016.
Okay. JP?
Might not be going back far enough there, but.
So he got his first career win at Bristol in 2013.
Okay. I'm going to say Richmond 2014.
He got the year correct. It was 2017, but it was actually the U.S. Cellular 250 for the Xfinity Series at Iowa.
Oh, my.
Wow.
Yeah, I realized after I said it, and I was like, I don't know if Joe Gibbs Racing would have had the
Bristol was the next year.
Would have had the car open for. Oh, did he win Bristol in the GR car too?
He won Bristol racing for JGR in 2018.
I was like, I didn't think that Joe Gibbs Racing actually would open up their car because usually their Cup drivers wanted to run Bristol.
You know what's funny is I was actually gonna say Iowa, but I figured JP being from Iowa, he would have said nope, he hasn't won here at Iowa.
I was banking on JP actually getting this right because I thought he was a master of all things Iowa.
All right. Well, since that was I didn't realize it was going to be a two-parter. Who got the year correct, Jamie?
Ryan got the year correct.
Okay, so I will, since it was a two-parter, technically, I will give him 1 point instead of 2 points.
Yep. I'm good with that.
All right. Well, that is going to close our show out this evening. As always, a huge thank you to all of our sponsors. As I mentioned earlier, Circle B Diecast, Sleeves, Century PC, Smacking Sunflower Seeds, Fanatics, Fubo TV. Thank you for all that you do to sponsor this podcast. And as always, a big shout out to Will and the Alkali Project. But until next time, I am Greg, and for Ryan, Jamie, JP, and Cobra and Eli, who had to step out earlier, this has been the Lap Down, and we will see you guys right after Daytona. Deuces.
Deuces.
All right. So Jason's not here, so we all got to leave and just stay on until it uploads.
Yep. Don't close out of the
All
app.
right. Adios.
Yep. See ya.
Let's go racing, boys. Let's go.